Sox fans have longed to hear it. The Boston Red Sox are world champions. Game over, series over, and the Red Sox are world champs again. And so are these fans. It hasn't happened at Fenway Park for 95 years. The Red Sox are world champions.
Boston organization has been well run for a long time now. From the top on down, here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series. 5-1 the final tonight. And the best team in baseball wins it all in 2018.
The Red Sox have won the World Championship. The Boston Red Sox beat the Los Angeles Dodgers 5-1. They win the World Series 4-1. And the Red Sox become the first team in the 21st century with 4 World Championships. Can you believe it?
Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Pesky Podcast. I'm your host, the Ritt, and today, well, it is Sunday night. We are getting ready to head into the next series with those Pittsburgh Pirates, and I got a guy that knows the Pirates like the back of his hand. Kody, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, thanks for having me. I'm doing great. Very excited for this series coming up on tomorrow, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing my Pirates go to Fenway.
Yeah, man, I was there last year at Pittsburgh for the second game of the Red Sox Pirate series. Man, it was a tough one. Sad thing was, I'm sitting in the hotel, my girlfriend's kid. I'm like, dude, let's go. Let's go to the game. It was a series opener. I'm like, I'm on Game Time. I can get tickets for $7. She's like, no, it's too far to walk. Well, needless to say, the game we go to, we got beat bad. And I was like, man, these Pirates, they're not like the Pirates of old. They are young, upcoming talent, just like those Baltimore Orioles do. And, man, we got some great pitching matchups. Going tomorrow, we have Cutter Crawford. You guys got Oviedo. Is that,
Johan Oviedo.
Tuesday, you guys bring Contreras in. We've got Pavetta. And then full around, we got our, day one starters. You're bringing Keller back in, and we got Corey Kluber.
Yeah, it's just going to be a great pitching matchup for both teams. These three pitchers that we have going against the Red Sox are probably, in my opinion, the best three pitchers we have in the rotation at the moment. Johan Oviedo, he was a guy that we traded for last trade deadline. When we got rid of Jose Quintana to the St. Louis Cardinals. He was part of the trade, as well as Malcolm Nunez. He's a first base prospect. He's our number 12 prospect. But we also, like I said, got Johan Oviedo. The Cardinals were using him as a reliever, but we wanted to turn him into a starting pitcher. He was kind of battling for a rotation spot, even though I believe he earned it over last year. But with JT Brubaker, one of our top rotational pieces, with him going on the 60-day DL or IL, excuse me, that gave Oviedo a chance to get into the rotation, and now here he is. But like I said, he's one of my favorite pitchers that we have, so I'm excited to see what he does tomorrow.
Man, if you think about these, the pitching matchup, like you're saying with the Pirates, Cutter Crawford's the same way as Oviedo. Paxton went on the 60-day IL, and Crawford got the spot in. Crawford showed exceptional upside to him last year. Playing those key matchups against the Blue Jays, the Yankees, and Tampa. And, Oviedo was the same way last year. He showed a lot of upside, once he came over in the trade deadline. So these matchups, just the pitching side of it, are very, very similar. Game 2, we got Contreras and Pivetta. What can you tell us about Contreras?
Yeah, Roansy Contreras is another guy we got from a trade with the Yankees. He was one of the top prospect pieces that we got when we traded Jameson Taillon to the Yankees. He is a guy that probably throws, upper 90 fastball. He's got some great break to his slider. He's a guy that, in my opinion, is going to be the ace of this rotation by the year's end. I think he has higher upside, over Mitch Keller. He pitched in the WBC for the Dominican Republic. I believe he pitched 3 or 4 innings, didn't give up a run. Yes, he was going against Israel, but he absolutely dominated them. And he's a guy that you're going to see some filthy stuff. Now, he does occasionally, his issue is sometimes he does hang some sliders, and that's his issue. But his stuff is there, and if he's on, you'll see it. But yeah, I'm very excited for him. He hasn't, and here's the thing, he's actually the number 2 guy in the rotation, but they saved him to go against the Red Sox. And that's telling, because one, they didn't want to use him against the Reds, even though it ended up backfiring us because now we're 1-2. Mm-hmm. But they wanted to save him for the Red Sox, and that's just telling, for one, that they know that the Red Sox are obviously going to be more difficult, and 2, they want to use their best pitchers against you guys. So it should be interesting. I'm definitely excited to see these guys show out at Fenway. Like I said, Oviedo and Contreras back to back. It's going to be exciting, to see what they do.
Yeah, Contreras, like Pivetta. I always like that he was kind of like the innings eater, for the past 2 seasons. He, I want to say he's like Rick Porcello, where you're guaranteed. Now this year with the Red Sox starting rotation, so far you can't guarantee 5-6 innings because Kluber and Sale both exited 3. Houck made it 5 innings today, so that was some promise. But Pivetta, past couple of seasons, you're either going to get 5 good innings or 5 bad innings. Usually about the 6th inning, is ready to pull him. So a little bit about Contreras and the Pirates. You would think that they would have pitched him against the Reds since they're in the division, instead of saving him for Fenway Park.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I was very, very curious of why they went with Mitch Keller, then Rich Hill, and then they went with Vince Velasquez today, which obviously backfired. Vince Velasquez only gave up 3 runs this game, but against the Reds, if you look at their offensive lineup, it might be worse than the Pirates. So, I was curious of why they saved Roansy Contreras for this series, but they must think that this series is going to be more difficult. That's the only explanation that I can think of. If you look at Contreras' stats last year, he did pitch 21 games. It was his rookie season. They did manipulate his service time a bit, so he got called up and brought back down a few times. But he pitched in 21 games. He had a sub-4 ERA at 3.79. He pitched 95 innings, 86 strikeouts with a 1.27 WHIP. Like I said, I expect him to perform well this year. I could definitely see him below a 3.5 ERA this season just because of his stuff, like I said. But this Red Sox lineup is definitely going to be challenging for him. So it's a good challenge to start the season, and it will give us an idea where his head is and where he is physically and mentally to start the season.
Yeah, you mentioned he pitched against Israel, three or four shutout innings. A lot of people want to say, oh, it was only Israel or it was only Great Britain, but they have to look and realize these are the country's top baseball players on each team, so it's not like they're going up against a little league team. You know what I mean? These are top players who represent their country. Some are MLB players, over there. So 3 or 4 shutout innings, a pitching is pretty good and dominant in the WBC.
Yeah, he. I mean, you had the likes of Jock Peterson on that team. He struck Jock Peterson out. He actually made him look silly. So and you got to think, regardless of who you're pitching against, the pressure that the WBC puts on you as a player, because you're representing your country. And the Dominican Republic, they're very, very big on baseball. So there's a lot of pressure, that he had to go and endure during that, during that time he was there. So like I said, it was very encouraging to see. I think, I can't tell you what he'll do against the Red Sox, but I can definitely tell you that, that you'll see some filthy stuff. Now, I don't know what the end result will be, but I feel like he'll come out of there with the Red Sox respect.
Yeah. And then game 3 on Wednesday afternoon. I love those 1:00 games, the 1:30 games, during the week. One, because the tickets are a lot cheaper, and two, it's a lot more fun, day games compared to night games. I don't know. I'm always a big fan of day games myself. We have Keller getting a second outing of the year against Corey Kluber, who's getting his second outing of the year. Kluber got really rocked his first outing, opening day. I don't know. He was out on opening day more times than any other Red Sox pitcher. He was, I think, 3 or 4 opening day starts for Cleveland. So he had the pressure before. His location, he couldn't find it against the Orioles lineup, and it really, really hurt the Red Sox. What about Keller in his opening day's game?
Yeah, Keller, it was kind of a mixed feelings. I had a Twitter space with all the fans after the game, and I kind of wanted to get their feedback on how it was, and they were kind of very the fans were very in agreement with how I felt, and it wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great, because he pitched 4 2/3 innings, and he had 8 strikeouts. The issue was, he gave up 4 runs. And, there were some tight spots that he got out of, like the very first inning. He had the bases loaded. It was 0-0 to the bases loaded to start the game, but he pulled out a double play. They get, obviously they scored a run, but then, he got out of it. He only ended up getting, 1 run out of that, but then that last inning in the 5th inning, he gave up a 2-run triple, and that's what took him out of the game. But besides that triple, it would have been a pretty nice game, because there was 2 outs during that at bat. So if he would have got out of that, he would have pitched 5 innings, 2 earned runs with 8 strikeouts. But instead, that last batter kind of spoiled the outing for him. But 8 strikeouts, man, he's a guy that this year we're expecting a lot more strikeouts than previous years, because he has added a cutter as well. So not only can he throw 100-mile-an-hour fastballs, he's got a nasty slider, curveball, but now he's added a cutter to his game, which it goes, it's about a 93-mile-an-hour to 94-mile-an-hour cutter, which is, that's impressive. So by him adding that during the offseason, it's really helped him out. With the strikeouts. So, you can expect him to, look to strike out a lot of batters. Like I said, we did go against the Reds. Their lineup isn't very good, but he did strike out eight batters in 4 2/3. So that's what you can expect from him. Expecting him, he is typically a ground ball. At least in his past, he's been a ground ball pitcher. But this year, we're expecting a lot more strikeouts, like I said. So that's the type of pitcher you might be able to see in that third game.
Yeah, facing 14 batters, 8 strikeouts. That's impressive. It's against a Reds team where their lineup, they're in rebuild mode. They're selling off their key pieces one at a time, because they want to rebuild. Because man, this Cardinals got that division locked down. It seems the Cubs are starting to make a play for that. But the Pirates have a chance this year to be that sneaky team that could get a wild card spot, just like they did in the 2020 season.
No. We haven't been in the wild card since 2015, but we've had some over 500 season. I believe it was in 2018. So that was our last season that we were over 500. We've been kind of in a rebuild mode for the past 3 years. This year, it looks like we're trying at least to be a lot more competitive. We added some veteran pieces, and then we have some young guys coming up that we can eventually talk about if you'd like. But this season's a lot more encouraging for most Pirates fans.
Yeah, well, let's just go right into the lineup. We'll come back to the bullpen a little bit. You guys added Troy. You guys added Hedges. You guys added McCutchen, which the Pirates fans were ecstatic when he came back. You guys got Santana. And Reynolds. Am I right that Reynolds and the Pirates are working? They got the money right. They got the length right, but now they're just working on the opt-outs for Brian Reynolds. So hopefully that makes him a Pirate for years to come.
Yeah, like you said, the veteran pieces that we added, I'm a big fan of Ji-Man Choi. I've always liked his defense. I've always liked his plate awareness. Last year, at least in 2022, he had, according to Baseball Savant, he was in the 90th percentile of hard hit balls. So his exit velos were, like I said, in the 90 percentile, and he hits the ball hard when he makes contact, as long as he's healthy. When we traded for him, he had an elbow issue, but he got that cleaned up. He seemed pretty healthy during the spring. His first game was actually, his first start was actually today. He did go 0 for 4, but Ashcraft for the Reds is a very, very good pitcher. So I'm not looking too much into that right now. But yeah, excited for him. I'm sure he'll get some starts against the Red Sox. Going with McCutchen. So far this year, he's been an on-base machine, McCutchen, so far. Obviously, it's only been 3 games, but he's been on base. I think he's drawn maybe 5 or 6 walks so far. It's been incredible. I mean, he has one, I believe, one double. He's batting 250 on the year. Like I said, just 3 games, but with an OPS of 912 or 913, and that's just because of his plate awareness and his walks. So at least as of right now, he's been very helpful for this lineup. He's been batting third most games, if not every game, I believe, but he's mostly been playing DH. Today he played right field, but I believe you'll see the Red Sox will most likely see him DH most of those games. Santana, he had a rough game today, but the game previously, he's a lot better batter against left-handed pitching. He is a switch hitter. So he's kind of below average, in my opinion, against right-handed pitchers. So I'm not really high on him, but at least against right-handed pitchers. But he's still a nice guy to have onto this lineup, a veteran presence that helps the younger guys out. Like I said, with McCutchen and Santana and Choi, big additions in my opinion. And then you got Brian Reynolds. We're still on that. We're still up trying to figure out what's gonna end up happening. Hopefully, in the next couple of days, we'll get a better idea if this deal is going to get done or not. But as of right now, The money that he has agreed upon was, I believe, 8 years for $106 million. The money and the years are both sides are in agreement, but like you said, the opt-out situation is what's really holding this this deal getting done. Brian Reynolds, his agency, wants, I believe, an opt-out after the 4th year, so that would only give the Pirates 1 extra year of free agency with him. So instead of keeping him for 3 years, you'd only get 1 extra year with that deal if he wants to opt it out after that 4th year. So I can understand why the Pirates are hesitant to signing that, because you're only getting 1 deal, but putting a lot of money in a guy that you're only going to get him for 4 years potentially. So I'd say the deal would get done if he does it after 5 years, just to give him an extra 2 years, so you'd get him for at least 5 years. That in my opinion, I think would get the deal done on both sides. But I think right now Brian Reynolds, his party is hesitant to do that. We'll see, but hopefully in the next couple days we'll figure that out. But yeah, the rest of the lineup, you got O'Neal Cruz, which could be a guy that's the most exciting guy in my opinion in this lineup right now is O'Neal Cruz. He's unbelievable right now. He's an on-base machine. He's batting 400 on the year. Obviously, like I said, just 3 games, but his plate awareness, at least these first 3 games, have been very, very good compared to last year. He's already got 1 home run against Hunter Green. Hunter Green was throwing over 100 miles an hour almost the whole game, and he turned on a 101 mile an hour fastball and sent it into the seats. 111 mile exit velo. The guy is an unreal talent. He just got to, as long as he's, reaches his potential, he should be a fun watch, even for Red Sox fans. You guys should probably be excited to see this guy at the plate, because he's just very, very fun to watch if you're a baseball fan.
Oh man, at the game I was at last year, O'Neal, I think he hit 1 blast, and the Pirates fans were just ecstatic over this guy all around. He's fun to watch. His defense is really good for about as young as he is. Playing major league shortstop, that says something right there, because shortstop, you have to be pretty much the most athletic player on the field. Man, our lineup, our lineup is really hot right now.
Hey, you got to thank Ryan McKenna for that 1 win, though.
Oh man, hey, we're taking where we can get it, but no, we got Verdugo leading off. He'll probably lead off against you guys all 3 games because you have a right-handed pitcher. Mm-hmm. He started the year opening day triple. I called an opening day home run, close enough for me. You know what I mean? Then in the 2 spot, you got Devers. His bat is really picking up right now. 3 spot, we got Justin Turner. Mm-hmm. Then we got Massa at cleanup. Massa he's very patient at the plate, and his bat just came on, today really well. Mm-hmm. Then we got the series MVP, Adam Duvall, batting 5th. Man,
that's 1 through 5. We're gonna have issues with. I actually wanted the Pirates to give Duvall a chance when he was a free agent, just because he brings so much power to the lineup, and obviously he's shown that he's already done that for the Red Sox this year. So, with that walk-off home run the other day, so he's a guy that you can't just pitch to and think that you're going to get an out, even at his age. The guy is he's a baseball player. Mm-hmm. He's a guy that will do what he needs to do to help win the game. That's why I wanted him on the Pirates.
Yeah. My biggest thing with the when we signed him was he never really played center field before. Mm-hmm. And then playing center field at Fenway with that triangle, that's dangerous. But the ball said in spring training that, him, Verdugo, and Massa were working with each other, because being on a new team together, you got to learn voices, for call-offs and stuff like that. So, man, he's done really well out there so far. His bat is the real reason we brought him to Boston. and he's been showing that tenfold already.
Hey, listen, if you can handle JD Martinez's defense, I think you'll be fine with Adam Duvall's.
I used to go down to the Camden, and I was down there like 3 times. I got a season ticket holder, first row, left field. Every time I sit there and thought Benintendi was going to be out there, JD was out there, and it was like watching a circus.
He's not the greatest defender, but listen, this is why I listen. Defense is very important, but you think about it. The Phillies made the World Series last year. They might have had one of the worst defensive outfields you can think of, with Schwarber, Harper, and Castellanos or something like that. It was so. I mean, if they can make the World Series, listen, I'll take a bat over defense any day of the week. Yeah,
I'm really happy this year, though. JD was on his downside. We signed Justin Turner. Man, the motto this year I've been throwing out for Justin Turner: just throw some dirt on it. That man, what happened to him? 2 weeks later, he's back in the batter's box. Amazing.
I saw a picture of him after he got hit in the face, and it didn't even look like him. He looked like he just got in a huge fight in the UFC or something like that. And he's back, so you got to give it to him. He's a guy that doesn't matter. He's going to get back on the field and he's going to play.
Yeah, and I love how now we finally have a DH that we can switch out. Today he played because Casas was I think it was 0 for 8 so far. So he went to play first. We switched up to DH. He can play third to give Devers a day off. I love having that open DH spot where you can move pieces around and give different people off. With JD, it was kind of like DH or bust. I think they said JD had in his contract he had to play so many games in outfield or something because he wanted to play, but that man should have stayed DH and just stayed away from that outfield because he was horrendous in defense. But man, Casas is another guy on our team, like Cruz on your team, that's a young guy. All eyes are on him this year. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he was your number 1 or 2 prospect last year?
I think he was number 2.
Okay, 2.
Prospect.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's starting off a little slow this year. 0 for 8. Still has it. I think he just got his first hit today for a pinch hit. Spring training, he was doing really well. A lot of people were more worried and talking about his off the field antics than his on the field skills. And as long as he does what he does in the field, I don't care, about the off the field stuff, his pregame routine or whatnot. As long as he puts the barrel to the ball and it goes in, that's all that matters to me. Catcher, we got Reese McGuire and Connor Wong. Yeah, the former Pirate right there. And then, man, we have Christian Arroyo playing second. I don't know what's going on. Ever since you've seen it opening day, he went and took a cleat to the head. When someone slid, it was really awkward. And I think it was Rushman that slid in and his cleat hit, Arroyo in the head. I don't know if he had some sort of off from that, because even playing second, he's been a step behind out there. So
yeah, maybe. Yeah. I'm not entirely sure. I didn't see the play, but this is off topic. Obviously we're talking about the Pirates and Red Sox, but man, can we talk about 1 second of how good Adley Rushman is?
Oh, man. Opening day, 5 for 5.
Man, the Orioles got some guys. They got some guys.
Yeah, definitely, man. There's a reason why they have the number 1 farm system in baseball. And we just had on last episode excuse me, a good friend that does a podcast for about the Orioles, Josh Lynn.
Mm-hmm.
Man, we were talking, and he's like, man, if someone goes down, next man up, because that farm system they have is young, and it's a lot of them are ready or almost ready to be able to get called up immediately.
Yeah, well, that's similar to the Pirates. I put out a tweet not too long ago. I think it might have been it might have been this morning. But I basically told, the Pirates fans, I said, listen, we just got to hover around 500 until some of our top prospects come up, because if we do, anything can happen. We got this guy named Indy Rodriguez, one of the top catching prospects in all of baseball. He's a switch hitting catcher. He batted over 323 last year with 25 home runs. Already in he's in AAA this year. His first at bat already in AAA was a home run. So we're excited for him. He's supposed to come up. Obviously, he had an amazing spring training as well. He batted over 400 with, I believe he had maybe 1 or 2 home runs as well. So, I mean, we're really excited for that guy. He'll probably be the future catcher for this team, because I'm not going to lie to you. Obviously, the NL got rid of the pitcher hitting.
Mm-hmm.
We have the DH now, but essentially Austin Hedges, you might as well be a pitcher because he ain't getting a hit. That's almost an automatic out for us. The guy last year, I think he batted like 163. We signed him because of his defense. Now I have no issues with his defense. How he manages the game behind the plate, love it. But as a hitter, no, you might as well just call that an automatic out, unfortunately. So really excited for Indy Rodriguez to eventually come up. We got this guy that I believe will make the rotation as well soon. His name is Luis Ortiz. He also pitched for the WBC, but he pitches 100 miles an hour with a nasty slider. He only has 3 pitches, but mostly only pitches 2. Like I said, the fastball, slider, but he does have a changeup that he needs to work on. But we're waiting on him to come up. I think he'll make the rotation here sometime. I would say maybe I'm hoping sometime in May they'll call him up. And then we also got a guy that will eventually, in my opinion, take over second base, and Nick Gonzalez. He was drafted 6th overall back in 2020. Hit his first home run this year in AAA as well. He's doing really well. He already has over 1,000 OPS. Obviously, only a couple games, but he's starting really out. He's starting really well for our AAA affiliates. So, like I said, the Pirates right now, it does look a lot more promising. Should be a good series for you guys. Hopefully, we can pull out 1 or maybe even 2 games. We'll see. But I really am excited that the Major League Baseball decided to have every team play each other. That them changing that in the schedule is really cool because the Pirates don't typically get to play the Red Sox every year, and now they get to. Now we get to play the Yankees. Now we get to play the Angels. Those guys where we get to see Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani. Rafael Devers. It's great to see because as a baseball fan, you want your team to win, but you also if you love the game of baseball, you want to see the stars of the game and playing the Red Sox, playing the Yankees, playing those teams that have those stars like Aaron Judge and those type of guys. It's really exciting for smaller market teams like ourselves. It's going to be cool,
man. And last year, when the Red Sox did come to town, that place was packed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's the thing. PNC Park is beautiful, absolutely beautiful. We might not have the best team in the in the league, but we definitely have the best stadium. Maybe, Red Sox fans might disagree, but at least in the NL, I believe we have the best baseball park for sure.
Oh, hey, I sit there and. Because we walked over to the ballpark. So, walking over the bridge, looking over to the left and seeing, the field. Mm-hmm. And then going into the park and everything. you know, beautiful park.
Mhm.
I remember Fenway. It's a different type of beautiful. You know what I mean? There's a lot of historicness there.
Nostalgic. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, when you walk through the tunnel and then you open up the Fenway Park, you know, it's just amazing, breathtaking. But PNC Park is probably, in my opinion, second best ballpark I've been in. You know,
Yeah, it's more modern. You know, and instead of like Fenway or Wrigley, where you have that nostalgic feel to a base, like that's a true baseball parks, in my opinion. You know, those two, you know, that represents baseball. But when you talk about like the modern type of baseball park, man, PNC is second to none because it's just a beautiful atmosphere. There's a lot of things to do at the park, but there's also the views. The view of the skyline of the city is just astounding, especially, you know, when you go to a night game and all the skyscrapers are lighted up and all that kind of stuff, and you see you know, the Clemente Bridge in the background. It's incredible.
And especially when it was a night game and the fireworks were going off, and unfortunately when I was there, the fireworks were going off a lot. But you know, it's just I remember taking a picture of it and, you know, doing the panorama shot.
Yeah.
And it looked amazing. Like,
yeah, for any Red Sox fans that you know, are obviously listening to this podcast, if you have a bucket list of going to baseball parks, obviously you probably have already went to Fenway, but the next park, I advise you to go to PNC Park. It's just incredible.
Yeah, the top 3 that I've been to so far is Fenway, PNC, and then Camden Yards. You know?
Camden Yards is nice too. I can't disagree with that for sure.
So, but man, let's go bullpen now. The Red Sox, we went and keyed in on our bullpen this year. You know, Curtis Martin, Kenley Jansen, Schreiber. We kind of built backwards, you know.
Yeah.
So we got Winkowski, kind of the long relief pitcher we have in there. We got Brazier and Ort, which a lot of the Red Sox fans are still wondering why they're, you know, still on the team. I'm trying to think who else we have in the bullpen. Blyer. So you know, we got it. We got a nice bullpen-esque. It has, as long as we don't blow through the bullpen really early in the season, I see us having a really solid bullpen. What about your bullpen on the Pirates side?
Yeah, before I get into that, let me ask you one question. Is Kenley Jansen, is he healthy? Last time I heard he was hurt or something. Is that okay?
Yeah, I'm guessing what you're talking about is when he got pulled. It was just dehydration, they said. Okay. You know, he was dehydrated. He came in yesterday, and we got the win. He didn't even know what was going on. He thought the game was over, and we ended up winning. You know, so they wanted to give him today off. They had him warmed up when Caleb Ort was, of course, when Caleb Ort was in. Then they sat him down. Then they started ramping him up again a little bit once there was a guy on second. But they really wanted him to get today off. But Kenley Jansen, he's great. You know, he sat there and he fired the ball in. He had a nasty pitch that everybody was just like in shock of to strike out the side. So Kenley Jansen, as far as I could see, 100%. He went from being the slowest pitcher, you know, with delivery, to being really comfortable with the new pitch clock, which I was really surprised how well and he was able to switch that up.
Yeah, watching him at least before pitch clock was so annoying to watch. so annoying to watch, especially when he was on the Braves. But because you know, as a NL Central fan myself, NL fan myself. I mean, I like baseball all around, but I pay attention to the NL a lot more. And seeing him on the Braves was just miserable because I am not a Braves fan whatsoever.
Yeah.
but he was good. But yeah, our bullpen is straight trash. I'll be straight on. I'll be honest with you. That's one of the things that's going to really hurt us this year. So if you get if you get to our starting pitcher early, if you get our starting pitcher out in the third, fourth inning, odds are you're probably going to win this series and possibly sweep us if you can get our starting pitching out real early, because we don't have. I mean, I don't. Besides David Bednar, which is he's a great closer. If we don't get to that, if we don't get to our closer, we're in trouble. You got guys like Dwayne Underwood Jr., very, very poor. He had close to a 5 ERA last year, and they kept him. That just tells you, a lot about our bullpen. We did pick up. We do have two lefties in the bullpen, just two. Rob's. Oh my goodness, we just picked him up. So this spring training. So I will botch his last name, but I think it's Zaltrizny, I believe. He's actually been pitching pretty well. That's one of the lefties to pay attention to. He's a guy that will probably go into situations. I'll be honest with you, Rafael Devers, he'll definitely see him this series in crucial situations. But we do have this one guy that's very interesting, Dario Moreta. We traded for him again with the Reds for Kevin Newman over the offseason. Mm-hmm. He pitched against the Reds in the very first game of the season, got out of a jam, struck out I think he faced 4 batters and walked 1 and struck out the last 3. So he's an interesting guy. I haven't seen enough of him, but he's a guy to at least keep an eye on if you're a Red Sox fan. If he comes in, he's got a lot of strikeout stuff. He got a lot of whip, swing and miss kind of stuff to his game. But the issue that I see with him right now is possible control. But he's pretty fiery too, which I like to see. When he struck out the guy, he showed a lot of emotion. That might make some people mad, but I liked it. So that's one guy to pay attention to. Some other guys that you might see during this series. Jose Hernandez. He's a guy that we picked up in the Rule 5 draft. He made the team. He's a left-handed. He's a hard-throwing left-hander. Can get up to 100 miles an hour on his fastball. Has a nice slider to his game. The issue with him is there's a reason why he was a Rule 5 pickup, right? He has some control issues, and yeah, that's basically his issue. He's young and inexperienced. The highest minor league. I think he only saw up to Double-A last year. So he's basically going straight to Double-A to the majors. So, that the inexperience might play a factor in this series as well if he's put into crucial situations. But he's, like I said, a hard throwing lefty that you'll probably see. Now there is two guys. I've mentioned already one, David Bednar as our closer. Lights out kind of guy. If you watched any of the WBC, he pitched a lot for the United States. Pitched very, very well. That's a guy that if he's in the game, if there's a 3-run game or 3 or less run game, and he's pitching in the 9th, I'm gonna have a lot of confidence that we're gonna win that game. But like I said earlier, how are we gonna get to that situation? I don't know. Because like I said, this bullpen is very iffy, and they have not been they've been okay so far, but it's not promising with the names that we have. But like I said, besides David Bednar, there is one other guy. He's usually in the eighth inning position that you will see most likely is Colin Holderman. Nasty sinker, can get up to 100 miles an hour on his sinker. So he's got some pretty nice stuff to his game. So that's one guy that, those are two guys that I'm very confident with is Holderman and Bednar. But other than that, any guy that you see come in, Chase DeYoung, Will Crow, like I said, Hernandez, like I said, with his inexperience, those guys, if they come in, just know that you're probably going to get a couple runs.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier about, pitchers and players showing emotion. You're all for that. Man, I don't know why or what the big deal is about players showing that extra emotion. It brings character to the game. It brings individualism to the game, and the fans, get into it more. When the pitcher sits there and gets out a bases loaded jam and strikes out,
exactly. I don't want to see my pitcher say there's 2 outs and, like you said, the bases are loaded, and I don't want to see my pitcher strike out a guy and just look like he's dead going to the clubhouse, the dugout. I want this guy fist pumping, showing some emotion, getting the guys excited, because listen, it's contagious. Baseball is contagious. Hitting is contagious. Everything about baseball is all about momentum and, showing that emotion going to that next half inning. That could lead to some more runs. So that's why I like to see that type of stuff.
I love when I think I was in the WBC. I can't remember who it was. They showed somebody struck out a pitcher struck somebody out and kind of like went off the mound. I think it was against Team USA, and he kind of like banged on his chest. And then
I believe.
Yeah, and then the guy that was on next was just watching him shaking his head. And then the top of the inning, he went yard and and he hit a home run, and he was walking around looking at the pitcher banging his chest. Like that's what I want to see,
Exactly.
It's like you said, it's contagious, and it gets both sides fired up to score more runs and get a better feel for baseball. If you want baseball, more eyes on it, why not let the players be the players?
Well, listen, I mean, if you think about it, baseball needs this type of stuff, because if you think about what the NFL did, they allow celebrations now, right? You're not getting flagged for celebrations, and the fans getting involved into the celebrations, and everybody loves it. So why not let pitchers celebrate? Why not let batters, flip the bat? Like, what's the big deal, in my opinion? I love that type of stuff. It gets me into the game, it gets the fans into the game. It gets the players into the game. I love it. And the thing is, I don't believe baseball is dying. There's a lot of people that think it is. If you think about it, the WBC is proof that baseball is not dead at all, because the viewership it was the highest it ever was. So if you think about that, I think baseball is on the rise, especially with these new rule changes. I think it helps. Instead of watching a 3.5 hour game, you're watching a 2.5 hour game, and that's about the same amount of time as you watch an NFL game or a basketball game or whatnot. So that helps. It doesn't drag on. And if you add these celebrations and add, some life to the game, it's only going to get better.
Yeah, and you think, like you said, the game goes from 3.5 to 2.5. Now the attendance could go up also, because now the games that you couldn't make because a 3 hour, 3.5 hour game, I can't go to that. But if it's 2.5 hour, 2 hour and 45 minute, more people might be able to attend those, because it's less time they got to worry about.
Yeah, if you think about it. Yeah, that's a great point, because a lot of games, throughout the season are at 7 o'clock, right? At least Eastern time. Boston and Pittsburgh games are Eastern time, 7 o'clock, 7:30. If a game ends at 9:30, people that got to go to work the next day, that's okay. But if you're going to a game and it's going to end at like 11, some of those guys, some of the fans are hesitant to go to those games because it's going to be so late when they get home. So I think that's another point. Great point by you, that the time that the games start and end will play an effect. Of fans going to the games or not too.
Yeah, especially like
weekdays.
Yeah, like when I go up the fight, I usually stay in Woburn, So I take the train in, you know, the train closes down at, I think, 10. Mm-hmm. So I gotta leave the game and make sure I'm back at the train station at 10 unless I drive myself in. Mm-hmm. So, you know, if the games are ending sooner, that's a little more comfort for me. Oh, I don't have to pay the $40, $50 parking to drive there. I'll be out in plenty of time to make it to the train station to head back.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly. So I think, you know, I have a lot of issues with Rob Manfred, but the rule changes, I'm actually in agreement with what they're doing. But, you know, some people aren't, some people are. I'm one of those guys that I'm all for it. But I am one of those guys that love the celebrating, and I'm all for the bat flipping and all that kind of stuff. Even if it's the team that's going against my team, hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah. Red Sox Pirates, 3-game series coming up Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Kody, give me your one person that you don't want to face on the Red Sox and one guy you want to face on the Red Sox for your Pittsburgh Pirates.
All right, listen, the first guy that I do not want to see in the batter's box is Rafael Devers. That guy is a menace. I feel like he's going to be the guy, the determining factor on if we win some games or not. And I'm talking about the Pirates, of course. He's a guy that's a game changer, in my opinion. And if he gets hot this series, we're in trouble. So that's one guy I do not want to face. You know, the guy that I do want to face is that's a good question. I haven't even thought about that, but to be honest with you, I'll do a group of guys, and that's your bullpen. And I'm not saying that you have a bad bullpen, but that means if we are going against your bullpen, that means we're probably doing something good offensively, right? So
exactly.
I would love to see your guys' bullpen early. That means that we're doing something right offensively. And if we can do that, then the Pirates have at least somewhat of a chance at Fenway this week.
On the opposite end, I'm going to say it was close for me. It was between Cruz and McCutchen. Mm-hmm. I'm going to have to say I don't want to face McCutchen because he's that veteran right now. He's very patient, and we can't afford to get patient batters on base. We can't walk him. Mm-hmm. You know, he's really patient. So that's the guy I don't want to face because if he gets on base, then all of a sudden the dominoes could start falling real quick.
Yep.
The person I want to face is Santana. He is possibly I could have went Hedges. But
yeah, I mean that's an easy answer. That's an easy answer.
And I was looking at his career. I think he has a .193 career batting average.
Yeah,
like,
that's awful.
Like his defense is what got him to the game. So, but no, I want to face Santana. I think he is a veteran that is one of your weak points. Like coaching, I think he can coach a lot of your younger players, but in the batter box, one-on-one, that's the guy I want our team to face.
Yeah, like I said earlier, he's a lot stronger against left-handed pitchers. All three of your pitchers are right-handed this week, or no?
Crawford's right, Pavetta's right, and Kluber. Yeah.
Yeah. So. I mean, yeah, if you see him in the left-handed batter's box, most likely that's going to be an out. So I agree with you. Yeah, that's great answers.
So now for the Red Sox fans, I know we already went over the whole talent. If you could pick one guy on this roster for the Red Sox fans to sit there and look out for, so when they're watching the games, they're like, man, mention about him. Who would it be and why?
For a Red Sox player?
For the Pirates.
Oh, for the Pirates that people do not know.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great question. Yeah, we haven't mentioned this guy yet, but Jack Sawinski. He was a rookie last year. He did bat .202, but he had an OPS over 700, and he tied the rookie lead with home runs. He had 19 home runs. He tied with Michael Harris last year in home runs. So he has a lot of power to his bat. And with you guys pitching, three right-handed pitchers, he's a left-handed bat. So that's a guy to keep an eye on. He will probably be starting it in center field for us, most likely all three of those games. So that's a guy that you might have not heard of or might have heard of. But he's a guy that has a lot of pop. And don't be surprised if he shows some this week.
Hey, love the insight. Here are the Pesky Podcast guys. We sit there and we want to break down the series. You know, I go out and try to find some of the best guys for our opposing teams to bring on. Kody, you are the man for the Pirates. I love this interview. So tell everybody where they can find you at. This is all, the floor is yours. Set up.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on. Once you guys told me of what you guys do on this podcast, I was definitely all for it. So I appreciate you. But yeah, you can find me on Twitter, Kody, Kody, DUNCANPGH. So Kody Duncan PGH. I got a pretty big Pirates following. So if you're going to heckle me on there and tell us how bad we are this week, feel free to do so. But yeah, you can find me on there. I also write for rumbunter.com. I write articles, for the Pirates on there, so you can see some of my stuff on there as well. So,
well, Kody, thanks for coming on. Last question is going to be the big one. Pirates leave Boston. What's the series record?
Okay, I'll be honest with you. I think we pull out one win. I think it's going to be against Kluber. I think we lose the first two games, but I think you guys come out with the series win, 2-1 Boston.
Hey, gotta love that. So, guys, I want to sit there and thank everybody for listening. This is my man Kody covering Pittsburgh Pirates. I am the Ritt. See you guys next time on the Pesky Podcast.